The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, my name is Dr. Yvonne Unrah. I'm the Director of the Center for Fostering Success at Western Michigan University. Welcome to the Best Practice, Best Fit webinar series. Our mission here at the Center for Fostering Success is to improve college graduation and career achievement rates among youth and young adults ages 12 to 25 years old who are aging out of the foster care system. We like to acknowledge our funders, the Kresge Foundation, Havermill Foundation, and WMU for making this webinar series possible. Today we are really excited to bring you another presentation in our Best Practice, Best Fit series, which overall focuses on helping professionals, students, and supportive adults find discovery-driven solutions related to educational attainment for students from foster care. Before we get started, I do want to mention that the study literature and the recording of this webinar will be available on our website following the broadcast. Also, if you have any ideas for a study that you would like to see on our series, please contact us, and the contact information will also be available at the conclusion of the webinar. We are happy today to have our own Maddy Day, Director of the Outreach and Training for the Center for Fostering Success, and Elizabeth Brass, Data Analyst for Fostering Success Michigan and the Evaluator for Fostering Success Michigan, both here to present key findings from the recently completed evaluation. This is an evaluation of FSM being the statewide initiative that aims to increase awareness, access, and success in higher education and post-college careers for youth and alumni of foster care. Maddy and Liz will be highlighting FSM's growth and the learning that took place in the first 3 years of the grant and the shared future goals of the initiative. So with that, I turn this over to Carrie Ward, who is our graduate assistant and MSW intern, who will be introducing our speakers today. Thank you for coming.
Maddy Day completed her bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Washington in 2004. She went on to work for a private nonprofit adoption agency in Washington State, focusing on recruiting and training families to receive placements of children from the foster care system. Maddy specialized in training on transracial parenting and helping children work through grief and loss. In 2008, Maddy returned to the University of Washington to pursue her master's in social work. In 2010, Maddy co-founded the University of Washington Champions Program, a recruitment and retention program for youth and alumni of foster care. Maddy graduated with her master's in social work from the University of Washington in 2011, and in 2012 she accepted a position as Director of Outreach and Training for the Center for Fostering Success at Western Michigan University. As Director of Outreach and Training, Maddy oversees Fostering Success Michigan, a statewide initiative implementing a collective impact strategy to increase access and success in post-secondary education for Michigan students from foster care. Liz Brass is currently the Data Analyst at Fostering Success Michigan. She started out as an intern and graduate assistant for FSM in 2013, graduating from Western Michigan University in 2014 with her MSW with a concentration in program planning and administration. Liz also works at the Kalamazoo County Area Agency on Aging as their Quality Assurance and Planning Coordinator. Liz is also pursuing her social work license and is an LL.MSW. In 2011, she received her Bachelor's of Social Work from Central Michigan University. Through her studies, Liz has a wide range of professional experiences from child welfare, domestic violence, to working with the older adult population. Liz's long-term goal is to become a social work research professor and to contribute knowledge to the next generation of professional social workers. Welcome.
All right, thanks, Carrie, for that introduction. This is Liz Brass. And we're going to go ahead and get started here. There we go. All right, so what can you expect from today? I'm going to give a brief overview of FSM, and then I'm also going to give a better understanding of what developmental evaluation is. I'll also go over the methods that I used for the evaluation. I'll discuss the key findings, and then also discuss recommendations from those findings. And then Maddy and I will have a discussion, and then there'll be time for questions following. So to give a brief overview of FSM, before it got started in Michigan, there was a few campus support programs for youth in foster care, and there was just a larger need for statewide support for students from foster care. And with the success at Western Michigan University with the SATA Scholars Program, WMU had applied for funding and received funding from the Kresge Foundation, the Havermill Foundation, and also WMU. And promptly following that, FSM was launched in 2012. And that resulted in their mission, or its mission, to increase awareness, access, and success in higher education and post-college careers for Michigan youth and alumni of foster care aged 12 to 25 years old. FSM quickly identified collective impact as a framework to use as the initiative. So as you see, there's 5 conditions of collective impact. There's the backbone organization, mutually reinforcing activities, common agenda, shared data measurement, and continuous communication. So as a backbone organization, FSM supports many different organizations and professionals throughout the state of Michigan. The common agenda, they had adapted the Lumina Foundation Big Goal, which is increasing the number of students from foster care who obtain high-quality degrees and credentials to 60% by the year 2025. And by adapting this, they have aligned with other organizations in Michigan, such as the Michigan College Access Network. For mutually reinforcing activities, the FSM network, each member plays a vital role in ensuring that youth who have experienced foster care are supported in their education to career trajectory. So it basically means that everybody does their work well to support youth. For shared data measurement, FSM is in the beginning of stages of collecting data, and this is mainly through the Fostering Success Michigan Higher Education Consortium, also known as FSM-HEC. And that is composed of on-campus support programs at Michigan colleges and universities. And lastly, continuous communication can be seen through dispelling information through the Google listserv, through the Facebook page, at FSM regional network meetings, and at the annual statewide summit. Also, in the beginning, FSM divided the state up into 5 different regions. And as you can see on this map, the stars represent the different campus support programs that exist. So the different regions that FSM identified were the North region, Central, Southwest, Northeast, and Southeast regions. These are used not only to have regional network meetings, but also to basically what I'm trying to say is, since it is it's statewide work, and to help do that efficiently, having these regions
So one of the things that this is Maddy, I can jump in and say that part of our decision early on to break out into regions was understanding that Michigan is a very diverse state, and so with several urban cores quite spread out from each other, in addition to high rural populations that are also very disparate from up in the Upper Peninsula down throughout the Main Peninsula, it was important to break the state out so that we could focus our efforts and focus our strategies in a way that was sensitive to the cultures that were really unique to each region.
Yeah, thank you, Maddy. Very well said. And in these regions, there's a number of different network partner types. So as you can see, this may look familiar to most of you, but as you can see, the different partner types. We have a youth and alumni of foster care,
caregivers and mentors, community organizations, middle and high school educators and staff, Department of Human Services, local college access networks, Department of Education, courts and law enforcement, career and workforce services, housing and post-secondary education institutions, staff, and campus champions. So these are the local communities that exist within each of the regions that were identified. So as a backbone organization, FSM uses the strategies of resourcing, supporting, and networking. And as a resourcing strategy, the purpose is to build the knowledge capacity of FSM partners. So some of the activities that FSM uses in this strategy are the FSM website, educational webinars like the one that you're listening in on, and the Getting to Know series resource guides, and all of those are available on the website. For supporting activities, the purpose is to build the skill capacity of partners, and that is best seen through technical assistance to network partners and also the various student support that FSM provides. As a networking strategy, the purpose is to build the social capacity of FSM partners. And the main activity there is the annual statewide summit that happens each year in May, and also the regional network meetings and other web-based communications. So now that you have a good overview of what FSM is, I'll jump into developmental evaluation. So what exactly is it? It's an evaluation used for beginning stages of long-term social change. It also supports continuous development and adaptation. If you also know of if you've heard of other forms of evaluation, such as formative or summative, this would go before those. As the name suggests, it's developmental. So why did we choose it? Basically, it was a good fit for FSM. And not only that, many other collective impact initiatives in their early years are suggested to use the developmental evaluation. And the key questions in developmental evaluation are: what overall progress is being made toward outcomes, and what needs to happen next? So to give you a visual of how this fits in with a collective impact timeline, you can see that in the early years, so years 1 through 3, initiatives mainly focus on their short-term outcomes. And then as you go into the middle years, so it's around 3 or 4 to 12 years, you have some work on the short-term outcomes, but it's mainly focused on the intermediate outcomes. And then you can start work on the long-term outcomes. And so the late years is 10 or more, and that should be mostly focused on the long-term outcomes. And the reason why the years on the top bar don't totally line up is that collective impact initiatives are not necessarily specific. Like, each one is very unique, and the timeline is going to look a little bit different. So FSM has 2 goals and 6 outcomes that guide its efforts, and these were included in the original grant proposal. As you can see, there's goal 1. So goal 1 has 3 outcomes. There's a short-term outcome, intermediate, and long-term. So you can see it there. And then goal 2, there's goal 2. And this is in the evaluation report, and it will be up on the website. So if you want to catch it later, you have the freedom to do that. And then, so again, goal 2 has 2 short-term outcomes and 1 intermediate outcome. And this all fits in on the logic model. So as you can see in the red, the outcomes, so you have the 3 short-term, the 2 intermediate or medium outcomes, and then the 1 long-term outcome. So The evaluation, all the data collected covers a period of January 2012 to December 2014. And I use a set of mixed methods. So for objective data, I checked out the attendance of partners at meetings and various website analytics, for example. Subjective data, such as partner feedback from website or other events, specifically at regional network meetings. We also, as a supplement, a survey was created for the evaluation, and that took place in July through August of 2014. They were phone interviews, and the questions were based on the outcomes and targeted towards specific network partner types. Shared data measurement, again, it's one of the 5 conditions of collective impact, and we're beginning to collect that through the FSM-HEC, which is the Higher Education Consortium, and it's mainly the number of students served in the programs and also the number of students to graduate from those programs within FSM-HEC. So a little bit more about the survey. So again, I said that it took place through July and August of 2012, and surveys were conducted over the phone. At first, there was a random selection of partners that were contacted early in July, but there was a low response rate, and that really called for the need for a more purposive sampling procedure. And so we picked people based on their high involvement in FSM activities. So of those people, or of those partners, 51 partners were reached and 44 completed the survey. And so as you can see, we have the network partner types over on the right, and those were the number of types. So as you can see. And then I also wanted to note that all the regions were represented in this survey. And due to the low response rate of 2.5%, the generalizability or generalization of the results is cautioned. So what did we learn about FSM's progress toward outcomes? So outcome 1, the increased number of effective on-campus support programs for students emancipating from foster care. So in 2012, like I was saying, there were 5 campus support programs. And then shortly after FSM was launched, DHS, or the Department of Human Services, offered bid grants, and 7 grants were awarded. Now, 2 of the original programs received grants, and then 5 additional programs were created based off of those grants. So the total number in 2013, or in late 2012, 2013, the total number of support programs was 10. And then after continued outreach to community colleges, that resulted in 2 additional programs in early 2014, which totaled the number to 12 campus support programs. And if you take a look at Appendix B, that kind of gives you a visual of what I was just talking about. So in 2012, those were the 5 identified programs. And then the programs with the 2 stars at the end of it, those were the programs that received the DHS bid grants. And so you can see that there. And then in 2014, the 2 additional programs were added into FSM-HEC. I also wanted to note, too, that in December of 2014, while this evaluation was taking place, another support program was awarded a life skills coach grant from DHS, but they were not included in this evaluation. So technically the number is now 15, but for this purpose it's, or no, 14, yeah. So I think I covered that. And then just to note too, the other 2 columns you see there, reported data in 2013 and in 2014, that has to do with shared data measurement, which I'll get more into in the next 2 outcomes, Outcome 2 and 3. So, outcome 2, increase enrollment in higher education institutions. So the finding, the main data for this outcome was through the shared data measurement of the campus support programs in FSM-HEC. So shared data measurement, the programs track number of students supported in an academic year. So it would be the academic year of 2012 to 2013, and then 2013 to 2014. So as you can see, the number increased from 213 students to 238 students supported in programs in those respective academic years. And I also wanted to note too that, so I'm going to go back to this slide. So you can see that the data reported in 2013, only 8 of the schools reported data, and then in 2014, 9 of the schools reported data. And NA is really because those campus support programs weren't around in 2013. And we wanted to share that because because we just wanted to be transparent and supporting data-based decision-making and the shared data measurement. It's important to do that. So there we are. And I also wanted to note, too, that since this covers only a small portion of higher education institutions, ETV data was also collected. So ETV is the Michigan Education and Training Voucher, and this data is independent of FSM. So DHS and Lutheran Social Services in Michigan, who supports the ETV, provided us data, so thank you very much. But as you can see, in relation to the ETV awards awarded in relation to the youth in care age 18 and over increased. So what does that mean? It means that there are more students who may be enrolled in higher education of some sort or some form of training, and that they are accessing this financial resource. So that was one of the findings. I also wanted to note, too, that of the ETV awards, there's a top 10 schools where students receive ETV awards, and the representation of the on-campus support programs that are involved in FSM-HEC increased from 2 in 2010 to 5 in 2014 of the top 10 schools. And also of all the programs, the 12 programs, the actual number of ETV awards increased from 129 to 274 in 2014. So that means that more students who receive ETV awards are increasingly attending institutions where there is an established on-campus support program. I felt that that was a very interesting finding. So similar to outcome number 2, outcome number 3 has to do with graduation rates of youth who've experienced foster care. So again, this outcome was best seen through the shared data measurement of FSM-HEC. And again, it's the academic years. And this number was 22 for both years, totaling the number to 44 students who have graduated from these programs during the time of this evaluation. Outcome 4, increase understanding of best practices. So the success indicator, all the success indicators, as you can see, these derived from the grant proposal. And the finding for this outcome was that the Fostering Success Michigan website was unveiled in 2013 at the annual summit. And so if you haven't been to the website, please go there and check it out. But fosteringsuccessmichigan.com, this is what the homepage looks like. So the information and the resources are organized by audience type. So you have like middle school, high school, college, supportive adults, etc. And it's also organized by the 7 life domains. So you can see the education, housing, health, relationships, all those. So you can click on those, and those pull up resources that are specific to what you clicked on. I'll also note too, I also found that FSM has been very responsive to network partners through various forms of feedback. So some partners really wanted more opportunities to network or just have a better understanding of who was in their area. And they also wanted to hear experiences of students who have been in foster care. And so that resulted in expanding the network page of the website to include an interactive map where you can see the different partner types that are in your area. And then for the student experiences, there's a stories section, and that really includes student blogs and other stories and spotlights of students that are in our network in Michigan. I also took a look at website analytics, which I use Google Analytics, and this covers May 2013 when the website was launched up until December of 2014. And so there's been a total of, well, you can see it there, but there's been quite a number of page views. So what that means is kind of basically what it says is the number of pages that were viewed. And the top pages viewed, I thought that was pertinent to share. Obviously, the home page is going to be number one because that's the landing page that people go to when they visit our website. Library page, that's all of the different resources that's on the website. And I don't think I mentioned this, but there are over 400 resources on the website, and that has grown since the website started. So it's very, very, very great. The story page, oh yeah, the story page is huge too, because how I was talking about FSM being responsive to network partners, the student blog and the student spotlights, I think that goes to show that many people are interested in hearing student experiences and stories, and that it's important to a number of people's work. So that's great that that is top 3 in the top 3. And then again, news and events page and network page, those have high pages viewed also. The website also has a search function, and as you can see, 8% of visits use the search site or use the site search function, and those were the top terms that came up. So college, financial aid, webinar, video, forum, scholarships, and guides. Those are definitely mostly student-centered as far as, searching for different opportunities for scholarships and financial aid to go to college. So that's great. And the total unique searches, I mean, it is a little bit low, but this the search functionality was expanded at some point. So it was more toward probably December of 2013 that it really kicked up. All All right, outcome 5, increase number of organizations to support youth from foster care. Originally, in the grant proposal, this was more geared toward the local college access networks in the state of Michigan. And what was found was that the student support networks have not been established because the focus of the partnership with LCAN had shifted early on in the initiative. And it's not really so much shifted, it's more that it expanded focus to include many different other types of organizations. So for instance, that was really influenced, again, by the Department of Human Services bid grants to increase the number of on-campus support programs. And also, too, should be noted that FSM and MCAN have also continued their relationship or partnership. It just looks a little bit different. So they both are backbone organizations, and so they both shared strategies and resources with one another. So it's become a very mutually beneficial relationship or partnership. I also found, I took a look at the different type of network connections that were taking place. So I looked at all the email contacts that FSM has, how many Facebook page likes they have, which has increased quite a bit over the last years, how many Twitter followers there are, how many Google group members, and how many emails have been sent throughout the time of this evaluation. So what I found was that although there is a large number of email contacts, there still seems to be a smaller group of engaged students, supportive adults, and professionals that continue to be enhanced by FSM activities. Outcome 6. So this is an intermediate outcome, improved college preparation among youth in foster care. Again, there's just, what I found was the capacity to measure college preparation. It's too early to measure it. However, many of the resources that are available on the FSM website, such as webinars, FSM guides, and various conferences and events, these allow students who have experienced foster care to become better educated about the opportunities available to them in higher education. So while we cannot measure it yet, there's still a beginning process of supporting this outcome. All right, moving on to recommendations. I wanted to give the visual again of the timeline and really focus in on where FSM is at and where they have been and kind of where they're going to go. So we'll see. So the short-term outcomes are outcome 1, 4, and 5, and again, those have really been the focus of years 1 through 3, which encompasses this evaluation. So it makes sense that the most work that has been done has been on those outcomes. So as FSM continues to engage new and existing programs, FSM will have to reevaluate its capacity for this supporting strategy. So some questions that FSM may consider answering are, is there a standard way that an on-campus support program is established and how it's developed? And then what are the variables that are necessary for the success of an on-campus support program? And then just thinking about what effective means and what makes a on-campus support program effective. So as FSM continues, they should think ahead on how the FSM HEC will be sustained in the years to come. So again, this isn't going in numerical order, but by short-term outcomes. So outcome 4, increased understanding of best practices. Again, this has to do with the website, and the recommendation is to remain responsive to the network. FSM should continue seeking feedback from partners to increase the accessibility of web-based resources and continue to add and refine resources on the website as a core resourcing strategy. So some other questions to consider are: what resources are most valuable to network partners? How can resources be improved? What ways can feedback be built into the website? And consider establishing feedback loops to facilitate the culture of shared data measurement and data-informed decision-making throughout the broader statewide network. The last short-term outcome, outcome 5, increased number of organizations enhanced to support youth from foster care. So FSM might want to consider revisiting the idea of student support networks given the ever-changing environment across the state of Michigan. So specifically, FSM may want to ask what resources would make up a student support network, what would the main functions of this network be, and where would a potential pilot student support network be successful. So moving on to the intermediate outcomes. So as they move into their next phase of development, which would be the middle years, FSM is going to want to focus mainly on the intermediate outcomes. And this could last from anywhere from 6 years to as long as 9 years. So, so for outcome 2, increased enrollment in higher education institutions. So this was seen by the shared data measurement of FSM HEC. So key to progress in this area will be to determine the understanding of FSM HEC members about shared data measurement and deciding as a collective how FSM can best support measuring enrollment across the state of Michigan. And then further exploration may be done surrounding the relationship of ETV awards and the increased number of students receiving ETV and their enrollment in institutions where there are on-campus support programs. Asking questions like, is the increase due to increased exposure and awareness of on-campus support programs, or are institutions with on-campus support programs more appealing to students because they offer more than just financial support? Outcome 6, improved college preparation among youth in foster care. So FSM should continue working with a variety of partners, such as Michigan Youth Opportunity Initiative, Michigan College Access Network, Department of Human Services, and so on, to best leverage resources that help increase awareness of college preparation among youth in foster care. FSM should ask, is college preparation best measured through the numbers of youth who have experienced foster care who require remedial courses? Because that language was specifically in the success indicator for this outcome. So, and then once the partnerships have been further developed, these organizations can identify students earlier on who need academic support, connect those students to resources, and maintain connected to the student to follow up and ensure that they are progressing academically. Weird. For the last outcome, long-term outcomes, again, this is really the focus of the later years. This is a long-term outcome, and again, more time and resources will be needed to see the long-term impact of the work that FSM does. So with that said, the improved college graduation rates leading to a successful career transition, FSM will need to determine how to collect statewide graduation rates of youth who have experienced foster care. And some questions FSM may consider are, what are the types of support that students need to successfully graduate and transition into career? What partnerships can be directed toward establishing a statewide mechanism of measuring statewide graduation rates in students who have experienced foster care? And FSM may also utilize similar strategies for increasing enrollment, as the two are related. Enrollment and graduation rates are related. And this slide, this is in the evaluation report, but it just gives to from a qualitative standpoint what some FSM network partners have said about FSM. And I'll just read one specifically. And again, it is in the report. But this initiative has created a network of service providers that generally care about the success of students that have experienced the foster care system. From this, I have professionals to lean on, bounce ideas off, collaborate with, and plan for future success of the young adults we support. And to sum that all up, basically in 3 words, what does FSM do? Resourcing, supporting, and networking, which are the strategies of the backbone organization. And just as a simple conclusion, FSM has made significant progress toward the original identified outcomes. And without further ado, the evaluation report is available on the website, and it will be available after this webinar. And now I'm going to turn it over to Maddy Day.
Thank you, Liz. Hello, everybody. Hopefully you have enjoyed hearing a little bit about our evaluation process. We're going to have some time for questions, but before we get to that, I am just going to do some quick response to the recommendations. And first I want to say for all of those folks out there who are doing this work of collective impact, I cannot say enough how valuable it was to have this developmental evaluation done at this point in time. Often we are so busy with the work of FSM that we forget to kind of look up and look out and really look back as we are planning great things for the future. And so it's been wonderful to have this report completed by Liz, so thank you to Liz, and really help us just kind of see that roadmap of how far we've come, which I think when you look at all the work that we as a network have accomplished, we have come quite far, and our students from foster care that are moving into young adulthood now in 2015, I think, are moving into young adulthood with just a much more cohesive network of support than we have ever been able to offer before. So it's just wonderful to see all of that. So I'm going to say just a few notes as I touch on these different outcomes. Again, I am also going to go over these outcomes in short-term, intermediate, and long-term, and then we'll turn it over to all of you for questions. So the first recommendation that was made was for FSM to continue to engage new and existing programs and really to ask our questions about how we will support these programs ongoing. One thing that we strongly believe with FSM is for students to succeed in post-secondary education, they need to have many choices that fit both their professional goals, but also what's best for them and where they are personally. So it may be best for a student to stay in the community where they're currently living, and we want to make sure that they have those supportive options regardless of where they choose. So we will continue to seek to build out to partner with new campuses and help them build out campus support programs. We're especially interested in gaining more programs on community college campuses and building those out so that our students who are pursuing technical degrees and high-quality certifications will be able to have that opportunity to be supported when they choose that path of post-secondary education. With that, we will need to ask ourselves, how do we sustain these programs? How do we ensure that best practices are going to continue to be spread? Because we know that it's one thing to have support on campus, but it's an entirely different thing to have informed and well-trained support on campus. And so with that, we are really looking to our Fostering Success Michigan Higher Education Consortium partners to do what many of them actually already have done, which is partner between 2- and 4-year campuses, building pipelines so that students who are interested in transferring both to and doing reverse transfers back down to a community college are able to do so in a supported fashion. We would like to build more of a network amongst our regional colleges so that as there are challenges that they may be facing that are community challenges, they have the opportunity to communicate about those, brainstorm resources, share ideas, and share solutions. So we would really like to see our campus support programs empowered to be leaders within their community and also look at how they can share their success and their knowledge. And many of our programs already do that. I should say all of the programs in the Higher Education Consortium are wonderful in being open and sharing their knowledge, so we want to continue that as we welcome new programs into the consortium. Our next short-term outcome is really speaking to this element of best practices and particularly our website. We are extremely proud of our website, and I would say one of the things that makes our website so vibrant is that it is informed so much by all of you. Whether you are a student, a supportive adult, or a professional, we hear the things that you're asking for, we see the questions that you're raising, and we're constantly asking ourselves, really, quite honestly, do we have a resource for that? So we are always looking for that information from you, but also understand that part of those feedback loops that Liz mentioned are really crucial. And so we will seek to find some way to embed those more into our website, but also just to have more opportunities for touchdown, quick surveys, quick focus groups where we can really get some feedback about both the resources that are working well and maybe resources that are not working quite so well. We also have seen a definite increase in the use and value of our Fostering Success Michigan Guide Series, our Getting to Know Guide Series. And one of the questions that we have is what other topics may need to be addressed, but also what platform is best for these guides to be produced. Is it best for them to be produced in a digital manner, or are hard copies still important as we look to disseminating this information to our students and professionals? We have actually just recently expanded our guides from guides that were really geared toward putting information in the hands of the students primarily to now with our new guide, Getting to Know Child Welfare for Educators. That is a guide that is really uniquely focused on our education professionals, and it's one of the first guides that we've done that really has the professional audience in mind as opposed to being specifically there for students. Outcome 5 is increased number of organizations enhanced to support youth from foster care. We know that as our partners, as our network grows and we have an increased diversity among our partnership, that we will both have to support those partners and we will have to respond to an increased number of variables and environments that those partners are coming from. We are absolutely looking at revisiting the idea that was sort of first put out in the original launch of Fostering Success Michigan of the student support networks. This strategy is something that we actually see leveraging using the FSM regional networks. If you have attended any of our regional network meetings in the fall, you have been able to see just the great conversations, networking opportunities, and really questions that are brought up at those meetings. And we would like to find a way to continue those conversations on a community level ongoing and not just have a touchdown in the fall. So we are looking internally as to how we can make that happen, and planning for the future to potentially have a more focused regional presence in addition to a statewide presence. I think a lot of this will actually really come from those leaders within the region partnering with us more closely to help convene some of those regional stakeholders. So as we get into our intermediate outcomes, we're really looking at those things that are pushing FSM in kind of on the horizon for FSM. And we look at this increased enrollment in higher education institutions, and we see that for the schools that we've been able to capture data from, this is actually happening. And we really believe that as we continue to send this message to our younger students who have experienced foster care that college is possible, that there will be more students who make their way and transition into post-secondary education. And so this enrollment will increase. Additionally, we understand that as we have more programs engaged in the higher education consortium, we will be able to measure increased enrollment as well. So we believe that this is part of the process of this, what I would say is sort of the going up the stream, really starting that college prep process will be a key motivator toward this increased enrollment process. And one of the things that we are specifically looking at is how we can build out a shared measurement strategy that measures success not just as graduation or enrollment, because while those things are important, we also believe that success for our students is holistic. So we're really looking at success built around the 7 life domains. I mentioned improved college preparation previously when I spoke about the outcome 2, and this is something that is challenging because many partners are involved in this college preparation piece, and this is really going to call on the coordination of these partners to coordinate early identification and early intervention for our young people who are experiencing foster care, so that we can help identify where those deficits are and help fill those deficits so that they can become college ready. Some of those deficits are simply just information, not having the information about what's possible in post-secondary education. Some of those things are more complex, such as having a system that allows for young people to have access to services for special education and learning disabilities. So some of these larger issues come to play when we talk about college preparation, and this is something where we would really like to see a larger presence in our network from the Department of Education. We really believe that our high school counselors, our middle school counselors, our high school and middle school administrators are so crucial to college preparation, and we know that that is a group within our network that is unfortunately not highly represented, and so we believe that to affect change in this outcome, we'll need to engage those partners more, which is part of why we recently released our guide on child welfare for educators, understanding that for our educators to understand this system and work with our students, they really need another level of education. So our long-term outcome is determining the improved college graduation rates and leading to a successful career transition. And again, this is something that is always that eye on the prize that we have out there, looking long-term and really working to better understand what our students need as they transition into the ever-changing career world, but also what we can do as they are in college to better retain our students. So this really comes back, really cycles back around to our earlier outcome of increased knowledge of best practices. And so as we look at best practices, we're looking at them all across this education to career pipeline. It's something that we know we will have to take into account with our partners who are experts in education. And so we're looking forward to, again, broadening that diverse network and really welcoming in those experts who are part of our educator and business world, and are helping us help our programs, our campus support programs, to better support students in the skills and the knowledge that they will need as they move into those career transitions. So with that, there's a lot more absolutely that can be said. There's a lot more that I probably want to say, and I think trying to do this in an hour is sort of a little bit of a hysterical feat because we have so much work that we've done and so much work that we are looking forward to doing. So with that, I will open up any questions that you all may have. Okay. So all of the, I see a question here about the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint will be emailed to all of those who are registered. It will also, as all of our webinars are, it will also be available on our website. And of course, I welcome any questions that you all have. You are welcome to email me, and we'll have contact information at the end of the webinar. So as I look through the questions here, let's see. It looks like one of our questions is, so why did FSM choose to work with someone internal as opposed to an external party? So we did this for a couple reasons. One, we were, I would say, more or less new to the idea of developmental evaluation. We learned about it through a lot of great resources that were available through FSG, and really felt that to do the developmental evaluation well, we needed to have somebody internal who understood from a ground level the interworkings of FSM. And Liz has been an amazing colleague to work with, and her work while she was in graduate school is exceptional, and we really felt like it would be of great value for us to have her do this evaluation.
And I'll add too that that is another characteristic of developmental evaluation that makes it more unique than the other two forms, is that it does allow for an internal evaluator as opposed to someone who is external.
So another question that has come up is, does this evaluation capture all of the activities under FSM? And thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. And so while this evaluation does attend to the primary goals and outcomes of FSM, there are activities that are not highlighted in this evaluation. And more specifically because those activities and their impact are not easily or discreetly measured under these outcomes. So things like the Fostering Success Michigan Summit, Fostering Success Michigan Regional Network Meetings, these are core activities to the building out of the larger FSM network and engaging this larger network. However, under the outcomes that we have stated, there is not an easy fit for identifying the data that can be gathered from those. I don't know, Liz, if you want to say anything more about kind of how you made the selection of what activities fit into the evaluation.
Yeah, just that there definitely was some work to be done, like working from the original grant proposal and the outcomes and the success indicators on there. And again, FSM does a lot of different things, and not everything can be captured within those outcomes.
Great. One last question, and then we will send you on your way to enjoy the rest of your day. Do you think that the FSM model can be replicated to other states? We absolutely think that the blueprint, the strategies and framework that make up FSM is something that can be adapted to other states. We actually quite regularly speak with other states that are looking to do this work or that are doing this work. We learn from other backbone organizations, both backbone organizations that support students from foster care and other backbone organizations that support a broader range of students. So we absolutely believe that this framework, this blueprint that we have begun to build out is something that is adaptable it's one of the things that I always say is I just really believe that whether you're building a campus support program or a statewide support program, you have to stay true to the culture of your community. And so what we've built out in Michigan, even if somebody were to pick up sort of our blueprint and transfer it to another state, it's going to look different, and it should look different. And so that's something that we just always want folks to be aware of, and really that the magic of all of this coming together actually comes from listening to your partners that you're working with, because they inform the culture of what you do. They inform how quickly you're able to progress and respond to different things. They really inform all that we have built with Fostering Success Michigan. So with that, we are going to end our presentation for the day. And here is our contact information. As I said, we always welcome any questions that you all may have, and we look forward to working with our partners and hopefully seeing all of you at our Fostering Success Michigan Summit on May 22nd. Thank you.
Thanks.